And welcome to another episode of the BroCast. I'm your host, Ryan.
And I'm Ryan. What's up, bro?
What's up, bro? What's going on, pal?
Yeah, nothing much. Pretty excited the NBA is going to start up tonight.
Oh, yeah. Gotta love that.
Shortest, shortest off season in any sports history.
Yeah, you didn't really even have any time to blink, and much less figure out what was going on. Before we knew it, the Sixers had a whole new, entire front office and a new team, and things are exciting again for the Sixers.
Yes, very exciting. Another exciting thing is that there's no injuries listed for the injury report for tomorrow's game. So that's very cool. I mean, you get a healthy team coming right out of the gate, and just very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, that trend continues. Obviously, going up against the Washington Wizards, I believe it's a home game, although there obviously will be no fans. They got that cool wall of virtual fans, which I've seen other sports kind of take that on. Like wrestling kind of has like a cool like 360 thing going on. I really do like the concept.
Yeah, it's very cool. I mean, people can't be there physically, so you might as well give them an opportunity to get their face on TV and for them to see it live. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, it's whoever thought up that idea. Uh, Good job. No, it was no.
Thank you.
Yeah, so they got the Washington Wizards, the new look Washington Wizards, with Russell Westbrook, obviously John Wall, going to Houston in that trade. Houston's a whole nother mess, but the Washington Wizards come to town, and hopefully the Sixers can certainly start off on the hot foot.
Yeah, I believe they can. I mean, considering it is a home game, just kind of that atmosphere and the feel might help a little bit. I believe the Sixers are 7-point favorites in this game, so that bodes well. Also, you don't really go against Vegas in basketball. It's tough. They somehow know what they're doing no matter what. And then you got your healthy squad, and I think we're gonna be good.
Yeah, no, I'm real excited how this team can work with some actual shooters, which is fantastic. Something that they haven't had, and maybe we won't care so much about Ben and his shooting and all that. So,
Who's we?
what was that?
Who is we? That is not me.
Well, I meant in general the fan base as a whole, caring about whether or not Ben shoots. Hopefully that dies down and he could just be the aggressive player and go to the rack, dish it off to some of these shooters, and get the three ball game working.
Exactly, and the concept behind this team and behind what is going on with Ben and everything like that. So you have to just now imagine that you have a guy who has been leading the league in assists in Ben Simmons. You have your big man, your cornerstone, and your franchise player in Joel Embiid, who, as long as you limit him to what he needs to be limited to, can hopefully have a healthy and productive season, maybe even an MVP caliber season, which would be great.
Yeah.
And then you have your shooters. So Ben being the guy that he is, nothing really needs to change. And that's what I'm excited about. You're not forcing Ben Simmons to do something he's not comfortable doing. And that's what I love. He can now do exactly what he's been doing and have the confidence to dish that ball out to either Danny, Seth, Tobias, anybody who's out there, and have that confidence that they're going to make that bucket. And I love it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely happy to kind of see it, see it kind of come to fruition, and hopefully this is a nice team game. We're led by these two, stars that we have, and hopefully Tobias can kind of maybe step up his game a bit. When he was under Doc, he had a pretty, a successful season. So hopefully that kind of contributes as well, and hopefully the new two shooters that we got, Danny Green and Seth Curry, um, really help to fill out the roster and make a nice team. Honestly,
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I mean, when you think about it fundamentally and break it down from a basketball standpoint, you've got your big man who's going to collect the trash and either put it back out or start the clock back up. You have Ben, who's versatile, bring up the ball, just post up down low, be a facilitator. You've got your shooters who can, circumnavigate the perimeter and just kind of go to where they need to be. And then you've got some other pieces that can now come off the bench, play well. Guy like Furkan Korkmaz, very excited for his year this year. He's still incredibly young. I mean, we got him when he was, 19 years old? And he's been with this team for about 4 years. I mean, he's 23 now, I believe. Yeah, I agree, David. They are going to have a good season, especially when you break it down fundamentally. And I love Doc because he is a fundamental coach and he loves his bench guys.
yeah,
I mean, in his time with the Clippers, did he not have one of the best six men of all time?
yeah, no, and
So
certainly was a great sixth man and certainly could have started on a few teams. But I think a lot of that has to do with Doc Rivers and the way he kind of coached up that team. So, David, Ben and JoJo are certainly primed for a nice big season. I'm hoping, I'm hoping one of them kind of gets into that conversation. I think that's more Joe than anybody, and I'm hoping that Ben kind of takes that next step up. Not again, I'm not talking about shooting, but kind of getting the scoring average up, getting some of the assist numbers up. Because I think all of those two things are going to go up this year, just given the team. So
yeah, absolutely. To that point, and something that I'm sure is going to be conversed about quite often is just say Ben is the one who is in the MVP race. That would be a little interesting considering that you would imagine that Joe has the tools and the ability to be in the MVP race. And really, Ben might be more of the facilitator, the under the radar or second in line kind of guy. So
yeah,
then you're kind of questioning like, is Joel as good as advertised if he's not in the MVP race again? Because he kind of was before. So, but yeah, I agree with you, David. Now the Sixers have a real head coach, and it looks a lot nicer.
yeah. Hopefully that just means that Ben has stepped up his game enough, and the both of them are working in tandem to have a great season. So excited,
Yeah.
definitely excited. Um, before we get into some birds talk, because obviously I want to talk about it. It's Dallas week. Just had a heartbreaker of a game last week with Arizona. But I did want to kind of announce for those of you who followed the show for the Philly BroCast, we're obviously part of Phillyverse, and Phillyverse is now kind of a part of the Notoriety Sports Network. And just today, officially, we've launched the NSN Philly page. So basically, we're focusing on Philly stuff, Sixers, Eagles, Flyers, Phillies, pretty much anything breaking news, any information, you can find it there first. Great source for all that. So if you're like me, you're like kind of looking for a nice trusted spot to find all news and information about Philly stuff. NSN Philly, check it out on Facebook. We're blowing up, and I can't wait for what the future holds for Notoriety Sports Network. So just wanted to say that real quick. So let's talk about the Birds. So tough.
Wait, real quick. I don't want to jump by this because I know we talked about it before, but it's still happening. It's still being talked about, and I think the people might want to know our opinions on this matter. The Ben Simmons trade rumors for James Harden.
Oh,
They do continue to pop up. It is still happening, even though I believe this is dead. There's teams out there that have officially said that they are done chasing after James Harden, and they're out of the race, if you will. Do you think that Ben Simmons is safe here, or do you think that this is Ben Simmons' last game as a 76er?
Thank you, David. No, I think he's safe. I think it'd be dumb to move on from Ben at this point, especially with Doc being here, especially kind of having a more complete team, finally getting some shooters. I'm excited to kind of see Ben, Doc, and JoJo all together, and I think that I think they'd be dumb to try and trade that to somebody like Harden, who, let's be honest, is a very one-dimensional player, doesn't play much defense. There's a lot of BS kind of behind the scenes that, whether or not it's true or not, it's still there. Still needs to be addressed. So I think if you're going to invite that into this Sixers team, I think you cannot do that by getting rid of Ben Simmons. Listen, if you want to do a package around, Tobias Harris, I do. But I'm not getting rid of JoJo. I'm not getting rid of Ben. No, not doing that. So
yeah, I mean, the one thing that you hear is like it would be like Tobias picks, and then maybe Matisse, yeah, and maybe one more. So
you may have to give up Maxey as well.
It could really hurt the team in the long run, considering that with at least Matisse and Maxey. You have two guys who have yet to really prove themselves, especially Maxey being a rookie. But it's and it's one of those things. I can understand how you say he's one dimensional, but that one dimension is superb.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Him and Ben and JoJo will be unstoppable, especially if you're keeping Danny Green and Seth Curry, and even if you have whoever coming off the bench. If you still got Dwight, you still got, I don't know, Shake, that's good enough for me, honestly. But still, I really don't want to have to give up Maxey or Matisse. I'll throw you all of our picks, all of them. I don't give a crap. Our picks are going to be towards the end of the first round anyway. So give them 3, give them 4, give them a couple seconds. Give them Tobias. I'll be down for that. And maybe, a Mike Scott to make money work or whatever. But, yeah, if you can do that without giving up Ben, Matisse, or Maxey, I'm good. I'm good with it.
All right.
I just don't think it's going to happen. So
I agree.
I'm not even addressing it. If something credible comes out, yeah, we can talk about it then. But as of right now, I don't think we need to talk about it until something happens. So,
boom.
Yeah. David says he isn't worth it. It would be a dumb move for Sixers to trade Ben Simmons to Houston for someone who's on the downside, and he doesn't play defense. No way. Pass. Yeah, David, I'm with you. The age factor, the one dimension, again, like you said, amazing MVP candidate, but he also hasn't won anything, and that certainly is something. If this was James Harden with 2 rings, and all right,
understood.
I probably feel like some of the rumors going on is not making me feel too good.
Yeah, just kind of playing devil's advocate. Just kind of wanted to touch on it one more time, just because I know it's something that you still see, you still hear. People, reporters are still asking Ben Simmons if he's concentrated on the game because, he could be traded. All these things. I just wanted to bring it up just for that reason. I agree with you and David, and I believe that he's staying. It makes sense for him to stay. The team gels, and let's go through this season and win a bunch of games.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm good unless they give you you get a steal of an offer, then no, I'm not giving up young talent like Ben Simmons for somebody like Harden. I'm just not. So, all right, moving on. Birds. Actually, before we get to the Birds, we got a smidge to talk about with the Phillies. Phillies actually a front office move today. They were, didn't want to uproot anybody during the pandemic. Phillies. Well, they didn't technically. They hired Sam Fuld to be their next general manager. Guy who's been in the Phillies organization. Real smart guy. I mean, it's not very sexy. Um, it's not a big name for sure. But Dombrowski decided to kind of promote Fold and kind of move forward, and so we can move on. And hopefully, with the two of them, they can figure out a way to sign JT because that's number one of importance in the offseason. Number one.
Absolutely, number one. Absolutely, have to. It's one of those things. Like I will talk about it every week just because I love the guy that much, and I really think that he's so solid, and he is something that this team really hasn't had. Of course, you've had your good catchers, but you haven't had a guy that could step up, hit three something, hit 30 plus home runs, just be consistent hitting the ball, and then be an all-star behind the plate. So, we've had Chooch and other great catchers that have done the job behind the plate, but maybe not at the plate. So
no, I agree. So and what's nice is Fuld is young. He's 39. He was just last season for the Phillies. He was the director of integrative baseball performance, whatever that means. But apparently it's he oversaw athletic training, strength and conditioning, and nutrition. But he was rumored to kind of be in line for a promotion, or other teams were kind of looking to add him to their front office. So I think it was again more not only a promotion but kind of preservation fact here. Adam says, "Go Braves, 2021 champs." I mean, you might be right. Braves are pretty darn good.
Braves are really good.
I can't really say anything about that. You might be right. So,
well, I mean, if you think about it, the Phillies aren't far off from what the Braves had shown last year, or in a couple past years. And the way I say that is, we have a couple pieces to fill in, and I wouldn't be too confident about anybody in the NL East. I would just say y'all better watch out if we can get some pitching, sign JT, and maybe plug in a little bit here and there.
Bullpen.
Yeah, I mean pitching overall.
Yeah,
but it's not like I'm saying this and then they're going to do it tomorrow and we're just as good as the Braves.
No,
I'm just saying that
hopefully
they're not that far off.
Yeah. Well, now Braves obviously had an insane farm system, and that certainly helped kind of speed up their process. But
I mean, it's something that the Phillies really didn't care about too much for a little bit there, their farm system, because they were in the tops in farm systems, 4 or 5 years ago, with like Boston and New York and a couple other teams. The Philadelphia Phillies had one of the best farm systems in the league. And then you get rid of people, namely Sixto Sanchez, and your credibility plus the fact that you're willing to just get rid of your future stars is don't.
Decisions have cost us for sure.
Yeah.
David says, but I wish John Middleton would stop being cheap, stop acting like Philadelphia is a small market town, and spend the money. Also says Braves suck. Oh, there you go. Well said, John. Or David, I'm sorry.
Yes, thank you, David. I can't really say that, but you can.
I mean, I don't like them. So in that regard, they suck. So that is that.
I also want to remain a semi-neutral person in this forum, just because I wouldn't mind anybody joining in and commenting on our show and listening and sharing and voting it along. So,
that's why I haven't been booing or chanting.
Yeah.
So anyway, Birds, let's talk about it. It's Dallas week. Jalen Hurts so far looked pretty darn good. In fact, one would say was maybe a smidge behind the Arizona Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray in last week's game or Sunday's game. You look well, meaning like he went toe to toe with Kyler Murray, stats wise, looked pretty darn good. I think Kyler ended up having more yards overall, but still, I thought he held his own very well, and I gotta say, I was impressed. I didn't think I'd be this impressed this quick.
Okay. Again, I'm going to be devil's advocate and just literally go against you. I know you love it when I do this, so that's why I'm going to do it. Okay. So, even though he's a rookie, certain mistakes that he made were, unacceptable.
Sure.
Things that Carson Wentz would have been chastised over.
He would have been
almost brought out into the streets and shame. Shame. Yeah. So, I mean, and he was, he had 20 incomplete passes? Was he 24, 44?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I don't believe that type of completion percentage is great. I mean, you don't really want the 40% completion percentage, do you?
Well, no, obviously not. The completion percentage was less than desirable, but I think, when you look at it, he's a rookie. So I'm kind of giving that leash, so to speak. And I just hope he can improve on it every time he goes out there. That's really all you can ask for.
Unfortunately and inherently in this town and during this time, you are now talking about what could be your future quarterback.
I mean, you're right. He was 24 for 44. So that's a 54.5 completion percentage. Not great, obviously. Last week it was 17 for 30. Again, not great. But, he's young. He's a rookie. He averaged 7.7 yards per attempt. I thought that was pretty good. The fact that he had 4 total touchdowns, had over 400 yards, those are all great things that I think lessen the hurt of that stat, if you will. Yeah, I did that on purpose.
Well played.
And I'm not going to chastise him. I'm not going to kill him. I'm going to hope and pray that they work with him. He makes better decisions. And, we can get that up to a 60% and then 65. And, if you get any higher than that, if we get to 70, geez, look out. But from what I've seen from a rookie who's literally started in his second game, has maybe played 10 snaps prior to these 2 starts, I'm not upset at all. I'm very happy. Still want to see more. Really hoping we get 2 good performances here at the end of the year. And again, I've been a Carson guy, but I am certainly open to the idea that this could be an open competition come camp if both quarterbacks are still here.
I believe it will be a good competition. Absolutely. I think I'm going to step down from devil's advocate and go back to me. And yes, thank you. I play the role very well. So basically what I saw was a guy who can make a little bit more of something out of nothing.
Yes.
And when I say that, we know Wentz can do that. We know Wentz has the ability to complete passes, to make the special plays, and to make a little bit of something out of nothing. Right. But right now, Jalen Hurts, being our option, being the better option, is making more of something out of nothing. And that's what I love to see. I was happy with a lot of the difficult on-the-move throws that he made. That's good to see.
Yeah.
And, limiting turnovers, that's pretty good. I mean, it wasn't great. it was just limited to what we might have expected to see from Carson Wentz this year. The Cardinals secondary is fairly talented,
Very good.
so you would probably have seen a couple more, maybe one more at least, interception from Carson just based off of this year. So I'm happy again that we've made the move. I'm happy that we have made the move to start him again this upcoming Sunday, and I believe that that will continue until the 17th game of the year. So, we're now in a new small portion of an era,
Yeah.
and we'll see where that era leads as we go into training camp.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited for the future. It's going to be one of the crazier off seasons, I think. In our recent history, just given the Carson Wentz, factor. As David said, better get his bags packed to Indy. Our good buddy Dan Orlovsky actually just came out and said Indy has no, they have no connection to Carson. They have no plan on going after him. So it doesn't appear that Indianapolis will be a destination if that is, truly what ends up happening. Or maybe, again, it could be a smokescreen. They do have Phillip Rivers on a one-year deal, so they will be looking for a quarterback, whether or not they keep Rivers for another year or go elsewhere. That being said, again, the cap situation is a huge deal. It's a lot of money to throw on a dead cap that we already have cap issues. So I'm really going to assume that unless they get blown away with an offer for Carson Wentz, I don't see him going anywhere next year. I think he may just end up being, if Hurts wins the job, a very expensive backup. Sadly, I think that might be.
Yeah, and that's a big issue, a really big issue, because that's what everyone didn't want with Nick Foles.
Right. It's paying Nick Foles $20 million for him to sit on the bench. Well, now you might
And
have
guess
to
what?
be paying Carson, $30 million to sit on the bench.
That is awful.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's not
like
great.
you said, I mean, I don't know, what in the world would be able to happen? Like, the Colts are a very good team with Philip Rivers, who's 10 years older than Carson Wentz, 12 years older than Carson Wentz.
And about
I mean,
12 yeah.
yeah, it's ridiculous. And I don't know if they would want to. They'd probably sign him again for another 1 year deal next year.
I wouldn't doubt it. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Certainly, if he wants to continue to play. But I think if that was the case, if he were to say retire, obviously they'd be looking whether or not they'd say, "Hey, let's go with Jacoby Brissett for a year again," or do we go hard after a quarterback? Do we make a move in the draft? Like these are all things the Colts certainly can consider.
With their team and with their record, would you do that?
I would go hard after whatever quarterback you think could help you win now.
Exactly.
Because they definitely have a very good team.
Yeah.
A lot of young players. The defense is very good. Offensive line's pretty good, pretty darn good too. I would agree that you probably want to figure out the quarterback position and not develop at this point. But that's the Colts' issue. For whatever happens. I hope we don't just give away Carson. I still think there's talent there. I still think there's starting ability. I just I'm torn right now. I want whatever's the best for the Eagles. As much as I always say it, I'm for the logo here rather than the name on the back. So if that means Wentz has to go, I'll be sad. I got a lot of Wentz crap. I got a lot of jerseys, so I'm not going to be too happy with that in that aspect. But if that's what the organization feels is the best, I'll support it. And I hope that it's the right one. David, again, hey David, appreciate the comments, man. Keep them coming. I feel
Thank you, David.
Frank Reich wants Wentz, then he will go after him. it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to play out. Yeah,
Yeah.
will they want to throw picks at us? Will they want me? Anybody who's watched this show knows I love my linebackers. I will take Darius Leonard. Give me Leonard. I'll do
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
Leonard and a pick for Carson. I'd do it.
that's one of the big things. Once I heard that the Colts might be, in the conversation, not interested, but in the conversation for possibly picking up Carson Wentz, I thought, wow, well, they have a fantastic defense. We can take a couple of their players if they want Carson Wentz. But then you also think about the money and everything involved with taking Carson Wentz, blah, blah, blah. But the big thing is we need to just really focus on the two lines. Our defensive line has been fantastic. Now we need to focus on the offensive line. And if Jalen Hurts is our guy, you need to protect him.
Yeah.
One of the biggest reasons why the New England Patriots won so many Super Bowls with Tom Brady is because they protected him. There was one season where one guy came in and busted his knee up. Sorry, you went 11-5 that year and still didn't make the playoffs. That's just unlucky.
Yeah,
that's just unlucky.
Couldn't have happened to him.
But I mean, offensive line is key. So let's focus on our lines. And then since our defensive line is pretty set and stacked, even though you're going to have to think about Hargraves, you're going to have to think about a couple players that, need to either get paid or get moved. We'll see how that works out. But, I agree with you. Linebacker is one of the keys. So what I'm trying to get at right now is that if Carson is a trading piece, if you will, or somebody who's just gonna, be moved eventually, you have to get what it's worth. You have to essentially sell this guy as still an MVP candidate, even though it's very tough right now.
I honestly don't think you really need to do a lot of selling. I truly believe that there is a good enough momentum on Carson Wentz, and I feel like there are GMs and front offices out there that still truly believe that Carson Wentz can perform at an elite level. So I don't necessarily know that you really need to sell that many people. I think there will be interest. Obviously, cap will factor into this. But, again, if we can get a first and some, I'd shudder to think the Eagles will look into that. It might be kind of one of those years where it's going to be a tough year because you're so over the cap. You're going to have to cut some people, and you might be thin at some places, but hopefully it's really just a 1 year bump, and Carson Wentz will be off the books, and you can focus on 2022 to kind of rebuild up, and hopefully if we end up with a decent pick this year. Hopefully that person can develop and be a kind of star and be cheap considerably, and hope that helps to speed up the rebuild.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole contract is just daunting. So that's what a lot of people focus on. Like you were saying, you got to think about the 1 year that you have where you're just essentially paying in nothing. It's like rent. It's like you're renting a player.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but it has to happen considering of how much guaranteed money you gave the guy. Especially a guy who technically was not healthy or
of the healthiest.
I guess just he was vulnerable, if you will, and you gave him a lot of guaranteed money, so it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, how he put the Eagles into tough situations by giving out contracts to people that he shouldn't have. The Alshon Jeffrey contract, paying Deshaun. These are all things that hopefully will be rectified in this offseason. But Still, they got a long way to go to kind of get this team to a point where financially they can get under the cap and still have quality players enough to put a good product on the field. So I don't know if Howie's that guy. I don't foresee him losing his job or necessarily not being on the Eagles. I think it might be another situation of put him in the closet, let you do the accounting stuff, and perhaps somebody like a John Dorsey, who was recently announced as being a consultant, maybe he or someone like him takes over the player evaluation, the draft, the free agent signings, where Howie can kind of focus more on the money, which he's proven that he's been pretty good at. Obviously not recently, but
yes, but I do love that guy. I love John Dorsey. Like the guy has what?
I'm a fan of his. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he has a great football mind. He's got an eye for talent. So I would definitely want him to be more, I guess, in control, or if not in charge of drafting.
Yeah.
Or making the right decisions in that aspect. And definitely Howie. Like, we've always called him the bean counter. Like, the guy is good with numbers, and he proved that and won the award for his exact title, his exact position at that time. But now it's not time to try and win it again. It's time to prove that you can do what you do, prove that this team is worth it, and go out and do it.
Yeah.
It's time to talk the talk and walk the walk at the same time.
Yeah. Sometimes doing two things at the same time are tough.
Yeah, like me talking and moving my hands. It's very difficult.
Oh, that's good stuff. So obviously we have the Dallas Cowboys coming up this week. Let's see.
Love it.
Yeah, always love
Dallas.
it. It's always.
I mean,
fun.
if we go 2-14 in the year and our 2 wins are Dallas, I'm kind of happy.
Yeah, I was just saying the same thing last night on the Football Smack Talk show. I don't care if we were 0-15 and they were 15-0. It would be the best win ever.
Yeah, I mean that would be a great win.
Yeah, no doubt. So, David, maybe Wentz would let the Eagles to change his contract where he doesn't cut the cap so they can get out players and help this team win. Yeah, I mean, there's always the restructuring, if you will, and maybe that might happen. Maybe they might go to Carson and be like, "Hey, listen, like, you want out of here? Restructure, make it more team friendly. We'll be able to trade you, and it won't kill us." That might be the way to go. Well said, David.
Yes, they do.
Yes, yes, they do. I'm excited. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually gonna be starting Jalen Hurts in my fantasy football championship game because of that matchup versus Dallas and their terrible secondary. I really hope
Who's your other quarterback?
Well, that's the thing. I'm still debating it. Unfortunately, in the one league, so I'm in 4 fantasy leagues. I'm in 4 championships.
No, you're not. You're not in our championship.
Yes, I am.
What? Thought you lost.
Nope.
Well, I mean, I believe you. I don't need to check, but I lost.
You lost.
Yeah, but I can get 3rd place from the last place. I had to wear a pink T-shirt, people. I had to wear a pink T-shirt because I took over a last place team, and I'm in 3rd or 4th place. You're welcome, everyone.
No, yeah, listen, you did a great job turning around that franchise. I'm very happy for you.
Yeah, and you tried to trade me Ezekiel Elliott and somebody else for Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, that was actually a decent deal.
No, it wasn't. I knew what Ezekiel Elliott would be, and he's proving what it is right now.
I'm sure you did. But
that's why I didn't trade you.
Well, maybe you would have been in the finals had you done it.
No, I'm pretty sure Tyreek Hill's averaging like 27 points a game. So,
Well, that's definitely impossible. So he's not a quarterback. Anyway,
it's impossible, and it's not 27. I was being exaggerative, but it's still a lot. It's more than Zeke.
Regardless, we're going off topic here. I'm really hoping that Jalen doesn't bite me in the butt, but in this one league, I do have Lamar Jackson. So it's a toss-up. He's got the Giants, who have a halfway decent secondary, versus Jalen Hurts and versus the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm gonna be debating this for.
Well, you have to imagine that it's a divisional game, and Dallas. Period. Like you don't really want to mess with divisional games, man.
I hear you, and that is a factor, and that might be a deciding factor. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I am also in the championship in my other league, so I'm not coming from a place of, 8th spot saying do this.
I finished last. You should listen to me.
Exactly.
No, I hear you, but yeah, no, I'm really hoping for at least. So one of them is a free league, which I could not care less and barely cared at all. So I'm really hoping if I lose any one of them, it's that one. But
hey, just real quick, I'm sorry. Hey, David, if you're in a league, are you in the playoffs or championships or whatever? Just comment. Thank you.
Yeah. David actually makes a good point that if New York loses at least one remaining game, the Giants, that is, and Washington does lose this weekend to the Carolina Panthers, and we obviously win out, we would absolutely get the playoff spot, which is still hard to fathom that this team at what would our record be? 6-9-1?
6-9-1, yes.
That would be the worst record ever by a division winner. Sad.
And what was the only others? Like
there was two others.
7-9.
7-9. Seahawks did it. I don't know.
A few years ago.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, like 5 or 6 years ago. And maybe the Carolina Panthers, I want to say, was another one. So it's doable, but again, I was arguing last night whether or not, because I've always said I don't always love the fact that I'm actually never going to root for the team to lose, but whatever happens, happens. Now that Jalen Hurts is starting, I think the playoff experience would be so much worth it for him to get playoff experience, especially if you're going to move forward with him. To get that playoff experience is worth the loss of draft position that you would obviously suffer should you make the playoffs. I think it's well worth it. And honestly, I'd be more confident in them stealing a victory than would Carson Wentz and the Eagles had they made the playoffs. That makes sense?
So one thing I have to – yeah, it makes sense. One thing I have to say is that I'm pretty sure you, or if not just you, a couple people have said that, and myself included, that Carson Wentz is still our franchise quarterback. If he wins out the QB competition next year, then you would want him to start and play throughout the year because you know his potential. You've seen how good he is.
Yes.
Jalen Hurts could do well in the playoffs. Yeah. And you want more, like, of course, as what we do, we want more drama, but I don't want that for my team. I don't want a QB competition. I want a good backup, and I want a solid quarterback. And I believe that Carson can still be that solid quarterback. It just has to. I don't know. That's the whole thing with this year. It's been crazy. I don't know what's wrong with Carson Wentz. If I could tell you and quantify it, I would do it, but I can't. So and that's what's frustrating.
You're absolutely
tell you what's wrong.
You're absolutely feeling what everybody else is. and people are a little torn. We people who are Carson Wentz fans, if you will, the Wentz Wagoners, fought so hard to get rid of the Folesian Society. Like, even if you weren't a true Wentz Wagoner and you weren't a Folesian Society, you knew Wentz was better than Foles. And you just couldn't argue more with Folesian Society people that, about which quarterback was the right one and they should have kept Foles, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, no, he was good for a very small amount of time. He did his job. Anywhere else he's ever gone, he's kind of sucked. Obviously, couldn't even beat out Mitch Trubisky, although he did for like a couple of games and then obviously just proceeded to lose. But so after fighting so hard for that, we have yet another quarterback controversy. And those Carson Wentz fans are so tired of the fight, of the arguments, of everything like that, that I don't know if everyone collectively has enough to fight off the Hurts locker. And
where are you getting these names from? You're making them up?
No. You've never heard of the Folesian Society?
Well, no, I've heard, and then you came out with the Hurts locker, and I was like,
Hurts locker is the one I'm championing.
His name's lined up.
I'm championing the Hurts locker for the Hurts people. But I think they're just so darn tired of fighting. And listen, the Eagles are going to do whatever they're going to do, regardless of what we want or what we think. And I just hope that whatever decision they do, they make it quick and painless as possible so we can move on with whichever one it is. I hear you. I still
that's not going to happen.
I know that. I know that's not going to happen, but that's what I'm saying I want to happen. I want them to make the decision, move forward, and just get it over with, whatever it is. And whether it's Hurts, whether it's Wentz, I don't care. At this point, I'm almost at the point where I don't freaking care. I'm so tired of the fight. I really am. I'm just so sick and tired of the fight of the backup quarterback in this freaking city. It's the most important position in this city for fans, and I don't get it.
It is. You know, it's funny. It really is.
And I'm sorry. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of fighting. I'm sick of arguing. Everybody, Eagles fans, we're constantly arguing with each other. That literally Twitter is just filled with people just yelling at each other, and just it's awful. It's awful.
All right, so
broken.
So I couldn't agree with you more. I want to say something real quick, and I'm just going to say something, and then we're going to put it out on our NSN Philly page. Check this out. What is the most maligned position in Philadelphia sports? It's either backup quarterback, Phillies pitcher, Sixers center, and Flyers goalie. Please argue me otherwise. Go.
I'd say you're very right, but I think hands down the backup quarterback wins this argument 9 times out of 10, and probably 10 times.
Oh, it's because we're a football town. Understood.
Right.
Understood.
And just recent events, like at least maybe the Flyers fans have good memories, but at least recently we've had good goaltender. Times we're in good goaltender times recently. Carter Hart.
Yeah. I'm sorry. How many years has he been our starter?
I mean, yeah. So listen, short memories,
I don't have a short memory. I have a Ray Emery.
So listen, I'm with you. I'm just tired, man. I'm drained. I'm tired of the fight. I'm tired of constantly going to battle with people. And there's still Foles people out there, and especially now that Carson's struggling. They're like, oh, see, I told you, Foles was better. No, dude, get out of my face. Like, you can't be this dumb. But sure enough, they're still there. Now, I'm not saying that this Hurts Wentz debate is the same because I truly believe that it's not as cut and dry. I feel like you have somebody who has, MVP potential, and we've seen smidges, small doses of that. We've seen it. But we've also seen something that we cannot explain. And he's completely just lost it. And we've been praying all season that something snaps in him and he goes, oh, wait, that's right. I'm a pretty freaking good quarterback. I'm going to start playing better. But it hasn't happened. And that's led the door to open up for Jalen Hurts. And listen, I don't think anybody thought we were going to get Jalen Hurts in the draft. I certainly don't think Carson did either. But Jalen has done quite a bit with his opportunity. And while it's not perfect and he's a rookie and he still needs a lot to go before I feel a lot more comfortable about it, I'll tell you, I feel a lot better than I did 2 weeks ago.
Understood. As Jalen Hurts, you have nothing to lose. So,
you're right.
You go out there, you ball out, you have only everything to gain, which is fantastic. Like you said before, it's not about who's on the name on the back of the jersey. It's about the jersey.
Yeah.
What jersey are you wearing? You're wearing an Eagles jersey. I want you to succeed. So couldn't agree with you more.
Right.
And yeah, the controversy will continue. Unfortunately, it's going to go throughout the year. I mean, I think we talked about it last week, though. I think we talked about this last week. No matter what, the Eagles are always trending. Like you mentioned the Eagles, and you're going to start an argument, or you're going to start a conversation, or something. It's great for the organization. Like for the Eagles, their name is just like they should be making money off their name. Anytime somebody says that, they are, yes, duh. But anytime somebody says that at a bar, they should be like, hey, I got the Eagles jar here. You got to put $1 in.
Or anytime somebody holds the door for somebody and you go, go Birds.
Go Birds.
Go Birds. You're absolutely right. But that's the beauty of this town in football, man. Like, even if you're not that, as long as you're wearing something, another Eagles fan is going to tell you, go Birds.
Go Birds.
I love it. 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 But I'm just tired.
Yeah.
Wow. Right. You're right. So we'll continue to debate this forever because I'm sure, in like 4 or 5 years, I'm sure we'll have another quarterback debate or something, and we can't ever be happy, right?
I'm sure.
Hopefully, listen, if Jalen continues to ball out, it's going to be interesting in this offseason. It's going to be interesting. It's going to make everybody's, choice tough, regardless of what they.
One of the things that I was fearful of, to be honest.
I mean, you're right. I would love nothing more than to not have a controversy and just have a simple, easy decision. But I don't think we're going to get that. So, all right, folks. Well, we appreciate everybody for popping in. David, the big star of the day, with all the comments, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, David.
Adam, well, hopefully, hopefully the Braves don't do too good, but they probably will. But appreciate everybody, all the love and the support. Thank you very much to everybody out there in NSN land. That's Notoriety Sports Network. If you haven't heard of us, you sure as hell will. So check out the Facebook page. There's YouTube, Twitter, at Notoriety Sports. And then, of course, the brand new launch of NSN Philly, which started just today. So please make sure that you go out, give it a like, give it a follow, and give it a share. It's essentially your headquarters for all Philly sports. News, information, breaking news, quicker than anywhere. It's fantastic. I'm so proud to be a part of it. And the Phillyverse, everybody here in the Phillyverse being a part of NSN. We absolutely are excited for the future. David, appreciate it. Have a great night, buddy. So, yeah, check that out. And we will be back here at our normal time, 6:15 next week, hopefully discussing a few Sixers win and an Eagles win. So I can't wait for that. And then, of course, check out the rest of the Phillyverse shows. Mike Sports tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And then, of course, Football Smack Talk show at 6 o'clock on Mondays. Ryan, do you got anything to add before we get on out of here?
You're awesome.
Oh, shucks. Thanks, buddy.
That's about it.
All right.
Thanks,
Well,
MSN for having us in, man.
yeah, no doubt. Glad to be part of the family. So we'll keep rocking and rolling and keep moving forward. So, all right, everybody. Thank you very much. Appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. We will see you guys next week. Talk a little bit more Birds, Sixers, and maybe there might be some Flyers news. I don't know. Doubtful. It seems very quiet on the Flyers front right now. But we'll discuss. Go Birds as Ryan is flying away. All right. So for the Philly BroCast, I'm Ryan.
I'm Ryan. Good night, bros.
All right, bros. Have a good night. Go Birds.
Go Birds.